Hey everybody, welcome back to another probably insanity-filled night here for the Bali Chronicles. And tonight Lamont is back, and we all know that means it's our favorite time of the game, story time with Lamont. So the characters will definitely have to let him know what happened while he's out doing all the tattoos. To kick it off with our Nest of Bali here, guys, we're going to jump ahead to, let's say, Monday evening when you guys start to wake up. This will bypass the rest of the weekend because I think Sunday's when you guys went out for Sullivan and Preston and things went a little crazy. Now, Tuesday is the night that Lamont has his meeting with Edith from the Painted Lady. So that's going to be tomorrow night. So tonight, Monday, when you guys get up, you guys have some time to kill. You don't have to worry about running to make a meeting. So you guys can kind of putz around and do what you need to do and look into things you want to look into. Now, that all being said, Lamont, you took care of the back tattoos I had to get done for the mortals that went out and did Sun's dirty work for you guys.
Okay.
That pretty much took up most of your evening. By the time you got back, it was probably 4 or 5 in the morning. Sun's getting ready to creep up. Nobody had time to really talk much, so it was just you guys retiring to your sleeping areas and just passing out for the day. As you all start to wake up, it's that familiar, slow pulling out through that torpor that the day pushes upon you, and your senses start to come alive and you start to be more aware of your surroundings. As you all start to come to, give me your rouse checks for the evening.
Yes, I have a rouse check to fail.
Right. Me too.
Yep.
So Preston got no success on his rouse check. However, do not adjust your hunger. You are still, you do not lose, you do not gain any hunger. Let's see who else, what else we got for a rouse check. So Sullivan got 0. So Sullivan, you gain a point of hunger. As you wake up, your body reanimates itself. That beast kind of pulls a tithe from you. And did Lamont roll?
Yeah,
hunger goes to 1.
Okay, so yours will go to 1 as well. As you wake up, and much like your broodmate, you get just a little bit.
Mine will go up 1. I don't know what Sullivan or Jeff.
You don't got to worry about that.
Sullivan's goes up. Sullivan's goes up
by 1.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you said goes up 2-1.
Yeah, oh yeah, it goes up 2-1. Goes up 2-1.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
No, we need to worry. No need to worry about
that right now.
You don't need to know about that.
No. LeBron don't know nothing. So.
So Preston, when you wake up, you actually don't gain any hunger. You feel just as sated as you were when you went to bed. However, you do find several rat corpses across your body that you apparently, either you or your beast subconsciously, as it got hungry during the day, ate them. That left you at your 1 hunger still.
Okay.
Eating rats all day, dude.
I know. That's what I get for pissing off. What's his name? Okay.
So you all come to. What do you guys want to do?
Just like any other day, you know. Get up, do my normal routine of cleaning the vampiric body of any trace evidence. You know, I don't sweat, so I don't stink, but you know, sometimes you get a little stuff on you that doesn't come off easy. So
right. So you guys will get cleaned up and get dressed for the evening. Goes off without a hitch. Nothing weird seems to be going on around the house. However, there is one detail that seems to have returned to the fore, whereas it was subdued for the last several nights, and that's that sound of the rats in the walls. You hear them scritching and scratching and kind of moving around behind the walls, like in between them, even underneath the floor at some points. That was gone for a while. Now, if you remember, Vanathra, you guys' friend, said that he took care of it. Well, apparently they're back, so...
Well, that's what happens when you then tell him to go and fuck himself. I'm going to really quickly, without saying anything or making a big deal out of it, gather up the rat carcasses from the ones that I ate and just immediately take them outside, put them in the dumpster, and head back in the house and continue on with my getting dressed and getting ready and all that.
So you hustle on out.
Ray, I'm sorry.
Yes.
For my edification, just so I can keep my notes. What is like the date? Like, I know it's still winter. I just don't remember exactly. Like,
so it's late February at this point.
Okay.
So we'll put it at. Let's actually pick you guys a date. It would be Monday the 22nd.
After we're all done, kind of getting cleaned up and whatnot, I'll be like, all right, we need to have a talk.
Okay. Lamont will be wearing a very like deliberately faded and ratty, like 1980s punk t-shirt with like the sleeves cut off, and like a pair of really tight, torn up jeans with like a couple of old patches on them, just like very typical of like punk, you know, from like the mid 80s. And he'll just come in and kind of sprawl on the couch.
So some things happened. The nest might be compromised, but to another Bali.
Okay.
That serves a similar function as our nest does, but is a direct adversary to our mentor. They have sworn basically to kill each other next time they come across one another. So that could potentially be a problem. This individual has direct contact with, we've seen him with some of the hierarchy, which definitely poses an issue. Now,
who is it?
What the hell was his name again, Ray? I, as Jeff, forgot because it's been 2 weeks.
Larson.
Okay.
Yes, he basically came across us last night. We had a discussion. He basically asked, you know, what was going on and if there was anything we needed help with. The way he put it, we unfortunately let ourselves get duped by his openness, I guess, and his prior knowledge to everything. Thought he was on the same team, and basically let him know that V, our good old demon buddy that we've now told multiple times we're not going to accept his help, has been sacrificing in our pit during the day while we sleep. And now that I know what the pit says, it's the exact opposite of what it had originally been intended for, which was to keep the beings asleep. It is now to wake up a specific being.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like that's not a particularly compelling revelation, all things being equal, which is why I haven't been in a big rush to be, you know, pushing things down that hole.
Fair. And that's exactly why I wanted to read it. And now that I understand the language a bit better and I had a chance to read it, that's how I found out that its entire meaning has been flip-flopped.
Okay, well, how do we flip it back?
And it had already been flip-flopped last time that we did put someone down there. Yeah. So we inadvertently fed it as well as V on the side.
Only once in our case, luckily, but still potentially detrimental nonetheless. Now, the way around that is our mentor will be here either tonight or tomorrow night, within the next couple of nights, to teach us how to better protect the well area, i.e. more wards and rituals.
This is how to properly desecrate it.
I guess.
Oh, who's this Larson? Like, what is his deal, or what did he tell you? What line of bullshit did he feed you?
That he could help us.
Cool. When do we kill him?
When we
smash his head like a fucking coconut on the curb.
Right. When we're able to set it up. It's not something we can go in balls to the wall. This is
sure it is. That's how you do murder. You just go and do it.
Oh, I get that, but we should figure contingencies out. I don't know if he's an elder per se, but he's been around long enough where he has his own circles like us that he deals with. So
I don't know what happens to the city if he is taken out of the equation. Not that I particularly give a shit. I would just like to know if he's up rubbing shoulders with the prince and members of the Primogen Council. Mm-hmm. He probably rolls pretty deep. So I think before we just go and bust him up or take any other action against him, we should at least know completely who and what we're dealing with. And the bigger issue right now is the well.
And if he has cells here, when he disappears, we need to know where those cells are, or at least the general area, so we know what could be coming after us.
I'm just concerned that when our sire arrives in town to help us.
Not our sire. We don't want our sire here.
I thought that was the information you had given me, but my apologies.
Our mentor.
Our mentor, Quentin.
Okay, well.
Quincy. I'm sorry, Quincy. I also did find something out about our sire and our lineage in general.
From who?
Well, I guess it could be bullshit in theory. Coming from who it came from, which was Larson. But this was before it got to the point where we had to lose him in a car chase.
Okay. What horseshit did he sell you before you knew who he was?
He said that our lineage and our line descends directly back to Nurgle.
Okay. I don't see how that affects anything.
He was using it as a manipulation tactic to try and get us to see things from
his perspective,
a different perspective is all. He's just trying to twist us up in the head.
Or make us second guess the fact that we're Malcolm. Which it didn't. So I guess it doesn't really matter where we came from. It matters where we're at.
Yeah, he's obviously, whatever it is that he actually is, whether he's Malcolm or not, he's obviously of some sort of a different affiliation than what we need to be involved with. I don't know. Wasn't there some weird thing that Quincy said about he's like from another place or something weird?
Yeah, I don't remember. I do remember being attacked by werewolves and hunters.
What did you do?
Oh,
all right. Well, we're gonna go to that. Okay.
Start at the beginning of the night. This is too much like just too much random.
It was a busy night.
All right. So remember how we ran into those
the blue
robed individuals who were representing some cult a while back, and we got a business card and a location of where we could go and meet up with these people. We went ahead and we did that because we thought it would be the thing to do. And so we get there and there's all these people there, and it's just like any typical bullshit mortal cult setup. There's drug use and sex and all that shit that you use to get buy-in and get people to be more polite, whatever, you know how it is.
It functioned like an underground club.
Everything was going all fine and well, and then Sullivan gets let off for his little private adventure, and
it was an adventure.
So meanwhile he's doing that, I'm making my rounds around this place, and there's a menacing individual in the corner, so naturally I go and talk to him because I don't give a fuck. Long story short, he's a werewolf, and he had shown up to take out the place because he doesn't like our kind. Immediately knew what I was, and so he was there to kill everybody. I managed to utilize my powers of overwhelming charisma to kind of sway him a little bit so that he didn't quite want to kill me per se. But so anyways, meanwhile that's going on, Sullivan finds himself under attack by hunters, I suppose. This was like a hunter group.
Yeah, so I was led to a room, put in there. There was some drugs and stuff there. So I was like, cool, I'll have whoever comes in do some drugs and I'll have a good time tonight because we're, being treated. And no, that was not the case. The lights went out. A guy came in with full tack gear and night goggles and tried to fucking stake me with a crossbow. Who tries to stake someone with a fucking crossbow? But he didn't make it.
I don't know. Okay.
And then shortly after that, I met back up with Preston in the ensuing blender that was happening.
Yeah, this werewolf brought his friends who proceeded to murder everybody that they could in the place. There were drained vampires being held in vats in this place, and so we kind of used them as fodder to distract the werewolves long enough so that we could leave. So that might be a problem. I mean, they let us go and everything, and like I'm fairly confident that they sort of at the moment lean favorably towards us.
Who's they?
Well, the werewolves.
The werewolves.
But I don't really know much about werewolves, but I kind of know a little bit about like dogs and wolves and shit. And I think once they get the scent of somebody or something, it might be it might be a thing later on. Is all I'm going to say.
But we don't
It might
have
not be
sense
over.
because oils and stuff don't stick to us, so we just
Dude,
don't give off the scent.
he knew. He looked at me and knew what I was.
Did you just assume that
I did.
a werewolf can't track you? I could track you, and I have no snout.
So that happened.
You don't have a
Fair.
smell. I assure you, when you breathe in your sleep, something comes from you.
I don't think
Just saying.
it
So
doesn't
that
matter.
was
Either way, werewolves.
that
bad
was
day.
that incident. Yeah. So that place is fucked. So it's irrelevant anymore.
Do we know who the cult belonged to? Like what their like whose cult was this? Who
We don't know.
assembled this?
I mean, there were vampires involved, but
It was weird. It almost, I don't know, knowledge base wise, I would have said Second Inquisition, but it's not like they were Havenry. They were pulling people. It could have been.
What
Who
was
the fuck
like
knows?
the
A cell of hunters.
so here's my question. What was like the religious connotation of the cult? Like what were they a cult of? Were they like
I think they were just trying to draw people in to.
we didn't
find
get that
vampires.
far.
so that was a trick. It was just designed
Yeah.
to draw in the evil for the evil's sake. Okay. So it wasn't really a cult. It was a setup entirely.
That's what it looked like.
Okay, well, that's good to know for the future. Okay, so you went from fleeing the fake cult massacre
Yeah.
to
Meeting up with Preston's Bahari buddy.
Yeah, we went and talked to Trina again because I wanted to ask her about the incident that was going on at the AIC
Mhm.
because the Gangrel Lester is involved, and I thought she's a Gangrel, he's a Gangrel, maybe they know each other. I don't know. So she's going to try and reach out to him and get us a meeting about that. And then when we were leaving
Also-
that, go ahead.
Real quick, at the party, I remember seeing the guys, the hunters, or whatever the fuck they were like injecting something into people.
Okay.
I don't know.
Was it
It's fucking weird.
heroin?
Like I said, we didn't get a chance to look into it, so I'm not sure what the fuck it was.
Yeah, I mean, I would say we go back there and snoop around, but I'm guessing that's probably going to be a bad idea.
Okay. Well, I will take your word for it. I don't know. Okay. So then you met with your Gangrel friend, and
Yes.
then
And then as we were leaving there, we get slipped a note that has a symbol on it that we fucking recognize.
okay.
And we went back in to the
Mhm.
same hotel, to the room, that number that we were given. And that's when we met with this Larson fellow who knew who we were, what we were doing.
It's
And
unfortunate.
unfortunately, we spilled the beans and let him know about pretty much most of the things we've been up to, including the weird shit at the lake and and that it was a problem. And he said he could fix it and that he should follow us back to our house to take him to the well so he could take care of it for us. So we, of course, got in the car and called Quincy, who gave us the real story on who this Larson fellow is. And we lost him in a chase and just came back home. And that's all that happened.
Well, let's hope he doesn't hang around Elysium at all, because
He
can
probably will.
Well, then he can definitely narrow his search to a neighborhood. Just find the place that's the creepiest. Well, okay. So we'll be stepping up our interaction with this Larson fella. Good to know. Good to know. That is definitely a predicament that can affect, well, everything that we do in the city. So
Quincy's debating while coming out here whether or not to completely pull us out of here or not.
yeah, it might make sense, since we've been compromised by one of our own clan that has no reason not to. This is how I see it at this point. we either figure out enough about Larson to get the advantage on him, which we are at a massive detriment, but could potentially work.
Or the fact that we know he's a Bali.
Yes, but we also know that we are, and he knows that we are too. So that's its own set of problems. Or basically, in order for us to have any success in this city, we're going to have to find a way to do away with him. That's really all that seems to be possible. However, we don't know anything about him, and he seems to have an advantage in that realm because he knows who we are, and he has a vague idea of where we are because we've been granted, rights to this area. So he may not know our exact address, but he could certainly hang around in the neighborhood and find out without much difficulty. So True. It is what it is.
So I think that's everything. I think you're caught up.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Well, so the only thing in that I'm particularly concerned about is this Larson individual. So werewolves and hunters, that's just the price of doing business. They are a danger. I don't want to emphasize that they're not, but
oh no, that was abundantly clear yesterday.
Well, I'd say this. Well, first of all, where are we on Operation Fuck Over Clan Brujah? Any headway yet?
No, actually, with everything that happened, we didn't even get a chance to address or talk anything out about our fucking thorn in our side.
Well, then let's talk about that really quick before we proceed with our night and go our separate ways, so we have our story straight.
We also need to talk about the known Sabbat pack that's in the city.
There's a Sabbat pack.
Well, yeah, the Zamis that we gave the state.
Oh yeah, that's who I'm. That's actually what I'm referring to. That's Operation Fuck Clan Brujah. It's actually Operation Fuck the Sabbat pack.
I thought you were referring to Balthazar because I was all about that operation too.
Yeah. I thought we already fucked him.
I am, but I'm just I'm curious about phase 2. Have we gotten anywhere on turning in the Sabbat pack?
No, but I think that would be as simple as a phone call and or a meetup, really.
Okay. Well,
depending on how we want to proceed.
That's the question.
We would just have to, any information that we have, whoever that we give it to is going to ask how the hell we have it.
Mm-hmm.
That is true.
Okay. So I'm aware. Can I get a physical description of this Larson individual? What does he look like?
For Sullivan and Preston, it's the German gentleman that was speaking with Ballard when you guys went to the bonfire. So he's a European gentleman. He was wearing like that charcoal gray suit, probably mid-30s or so. Doesn't stand out. A very plain looking dude, but there's definitely he speaks with a German accent and he has a more of a European affectation about him.
Yeah, it's the when we went to the bonfire, it's the guy that was talking to Ballard by the bonfire. Eastern European looking guy, speaks with a German or Germanic accent of some sort.
Who is he? Who is he claiming to be? Do we know what his credentials are? No. Okay, perfectly fine. Well, I'll be I'll keep a lookout for any Eastern European people in Chicago. That should do me perfectly fine. Okay, so first things first. How do we deal with the Sabbat?
We could. All right. So hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
Sierra is in a bad position right now, both with her clan, I would assume, because of the loss of the other individual, and with the city, right? So if we feed this info to Sierra, she can feed it to the city. It comes from her, makes her look good, puts her in our pocket because of the information, and her potentially using it to get them fucked, in essence, exactly what we want to be done. And that takes care of them, which takes care of the situation entirely, in theory. There are probably some holes to this, the main one being if she doesn't want to go to the hierarchy and say shit about them being here. But what do you guys feel? How does that sound? At least to feel it out.
I don't have a problem giving her the information to pass on in our stead. I cannot comprehend of any particular reason why she would be against passing that information on. And I don't think it would be too much of a stretch to make up a believable lie as to how she knows it. After all, she was splayed, and who knows what they told her or even said in her presence,
Right.
while she was in that position.
That's a good idea because I haven't talked to her since then, and I feel like I probably should. Considering
That was only a couple days ago, right, Ray?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, why don't we deal with that first, so we can get that off of our table, and then we focus on how we're going to deal with Larson, or at least how we're going to protect this place from further improper desecration.
And hopefully, once Quincy gets here, learn how to turn that wall completely around, make it back to what it was meant to be.
Turn that frown upside down.
You got it.
Okay, so my suggestion would be we call Sierra, or you call Sierra, because you seem to have more of the relationship with her than either of us do.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I will call Sierra.
You give the number a call, and it takes probably 3 or 4 rings before anybody picks up. And when it finally clicks over and you hear somebody answer it, it's a male's voice. It says, "Hello."
Looking for Sierra.
And this is?
Preston.
1 second. You hear it go silent. You wait for maybe 10 or so seconds. The line clicks back over. What can he do? What can she do for you?
I'd like to just check in, see how she's doing, and hoping we could get together for a nightcap sometime soon.
She's doing well and thanks you for your concern. However, she's not really meeting anybody for the next couple of days.
It's completely understandable. I hope that her and I can meet when she's feeling up to it. And I hope that she would reach out to me when she's feeling up for it.
Of course, I'll relay your well wishes, and I'm sure that they'll be well received.
Excellent. Didn't catch your name, sir.
You don't need to. The phone
fair
hangs up.
enough.
Yeah, you never heard that voice before. It doesn't ring familiar from any time at court or anything like that. It's a new voice.
Gotcha. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll just go fuck myself, I guess. So she's still indisposed. I don't know who that was that answered the phone, but it wasn't her. It was some dude. So he made it seem like it'd be a few days before she was going to be up for really seeing anybody or doing anything. So my hope is that he gives her the message and she gets back to me. If not, I can try again in a few days.
Why don't we just go to her haven?
We could just go to her haven.
I mean, we should probably just go to her haven.
We shouldn't be transmitting information over
The phone, anyways.
Yeah. And I feel like the fact that we found her and she was saved gives us an open invite. And that way, if there is somebody there that we don't want to talk to, we can see who they actually are. Because I'm getting really, really untrusting of like phones and like not face-to-face conversations. So,
yeah. Oh, can either of you guys are either of you effective at like shooting a gun?
Shooting
No.
a gun?
No. Why?
No. All right. Well, I'll pull the fucking, was it a 6-shooter that I got last week for that guy? And I'll just put it down and be like, well, it's got 6 bullets. I mean, I would probably hit a wall, but if one of you can use it better, if not,
Do we have like a mantle or anything?
Sure.
Yeah. I'll like take it from you and I'll like put it like on the mantle so it looks really cool.
like a
next to-
showpiece.
Right, exactly. Because no, we're not. Okay.
Fair enough.
Rule number 1. Yes, we are. I guess, as my father would have said way back in the day, we are all powerful vampires. However, we are still not immune to getting pulled over. And
That's true.
this isn't legal, so let's just leave it here on the mantle, since it's probably going to be less effective in our hands than just like wildly swinging at someone's face with it.
That's true. All right. Well,
I'm a lover, not a
I'm
fighter.
ready.
Hey, I'm happy to put on my best crazy stalker ex-boyfriend face and go and try and see what's her name?
Sierra.
Fucking Sierra, yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, I'll grab a knit cap and my leather jacket, and I guess we'll try to go and get up into her area.
Yep. Throw on a jacket or whatever.
So you guys get bundled up, to step out into the freezing cold of this evening. You get your gear on, you put your coats on, you dress a little more, for the weather. And you guys step outside, and as you're descending, the stairs down towards where you guys have the SUV parked out, you see this individual, gentleman wearing like a nice black suit. He's got a thin black tie over a white button up. He's wearing a fedora. Looks very plain, like abnormally plain. You wouldn't,
It's rousing the blood.
Look twice.
For, the signs of life.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the same.
All right, so Lamont is good. You managed to rush your blood through your body to give that false livelihood.
I'm hungry.
As Lamont gets his success that he needed to assume this visage of mortality, Sullivan tries to copy his brother, and he does so. Like, you feel, yourself start to breathe, and you feel your skin get a little more flush and a little more heated. But again, it's like that growling hunger in the back of your throat gets a little more powerful. Preston?
Once I know who this dude is first.
Fair enough. Not going to lose it quite yet. So you see this gentleman, he's walking across the alleyway right by your house, and he stops and leans down, like his hands are behind his back. A thin gentleman. I guess he's probably like 5'11" or so, maybe 5'10", thin build, like kind of lanky. And he leans down, you see a rat run out from the alleyway towards him. And he looks at the rat, whispers something. The rat, you can barely hear it squeak, and it runs back into the alleyway. You see him just kind of straighten up, adjust his hat a little bit, look over and sees you, gentlemen. He just kind of does a little head tilt and starts walking down the alleyway.
Already not comfortable with that.
He does seem to be breathing, but he's not wearing any sort of clothing that you would assume is very protective against the elements. It's just that thin suit, so he's got to be freezing.
He's a fucking Nosferatu.
What else is in this alley? Is it just is there like no reason why anybody would just be wandering the alley? Or
well, you guys' place is right in the alleyway, and your dumpster where you've been throwing all those rats, that's where that is.
I'm not gonna wait for them to do anything. I will just act sort of like on an instinct, and I'll be like, hey buddy. I'll kind of like give a shout.
Yes. And he'll start heading over towards the sidewalk and towards you guys' direction, kind of veering off course.
Okay. I'll be walking towards him, seemingly with purpose.
What can I do for you, sir?
I'll be lazily walking behind.
I don't know. What are you doing? What can we do for you?
Just heard some weird whispers, that's all.
You heard some weird whispers, huh? What kind of weird whispers?
And he just kind of nods towards the house,
okay.
This place.
Who the fuck are you?
Lamont, you're the Lamont one. Yes, you're the more straightforward of the three. I am Nathaniel. And he gives a small bow.
Nathaniel who?
Oh, Bordruff.
Okay. You follow every whisper you hear?
Only the interesting ones, really. The ones that don't seem to make any sense. Can you think of any reason why they wouldn't make sense around here?
I don't hear a lot of whispers, so I don't really know what the fuck you're talking about.
Should simply open your mind a bit more and you'll figure it out. But I am taking up your time. I'm sure you have places to go and things to do, as do I. But now that I know that where this is at is your abode, I won't bother you further.
Well, before you go, what kind of weird whispers are like? Is there something we need to be worried about? Like,
well, it appears that you have a rather extreme-sized colony living within your home. I'm sure you've noticed it already.
Well, we have a hard time getting an exterminator out here because no one's there to answer the door during the day.
Yes.
And someone here has a particular taste that hopefully he gets it. I will look at Sullivan with a certain level of disdain because fuck him, he's a caitiff. Even though he's not at all the one eating the rats or attracting the rats, I'll look at him like this fucking rat eater.
I'll kind of look down in deference.
Yeah,
Shrug.
some of us still have a problem with, courting the right date for the right event, but
He'll actually just draw in a sigh and let it out. It happens to everyone. Maybe he'll find his way, maybe not. Not really my place to say. I'm just tracking down leads for oddities among the city. Now that I know it is your place, I shouldn't be intruding because I know that you have certain rights given to you by dint of you owning it.
yeah, if I had my way, it wouldn't necessarily be what I wouldn't necessarily like to wake up every evening to hear the scurrying, but who am I to tell a man acknowledged by the prince how he can feed in my coterie? But thank you for respecting our newly acquired what have you.
Oh, it's quite all right. I wasn't sure, but now that I am sure, I knew it was in this area, wasn't given specifics. When I came across this down below, as you might say, it caught my ear. But I'll let it be.
Question out of professional courtesy.
If there is such a thing, but go ahead.
In the vaguest sense. I'm not real comfortable with the knowledge of where we sleep getting out. Some sort of conclusion we could come to where it remains something you know in confidence?
No, not really. I look at it this way. I'm not going to tell anybody unless you give me a reason to tell somebody.
Fair. Okay.
At that point, we'll just keep it between us. If we cross that bridge, then we've clearly had a serious problem, and we probably should have had a discussion about it beforehand. I don't see things usually getting that bad, but sometimes they do.
Well, you hear a tale, about people not liking others getting rewarded for their efforts, and just figured, if we could keep it private.
I don't like record keeping in some of the business I'm involved with, so I tend not to put things on the books, if you know what I mean.
Fair enough.
He'll actually smile very broadly, like his tired demeanor changes in just that moment. His mouth opens just a little too wide and get a nice flash of teeth. Fangs just slightly distended down past his lower canines. You three have a wonderful night. I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about.
You too.
And he'll turn on his heel and start walking down the street.
I'm in a sense of sin.
Sure.
This dude knows where we live. I need to get something. Hopefully.
Guys, don't worry. He hates everybody. So that's just how that works. So it's your charisma plus blood sorcery versus his resolve plus composure.
I got 6 successes.
His resolve plus composure is...
It's holy crap because it's so small, right?
Right. You got more than he did, that's for damn sure. He only got 2. Okay.
Just the one, yeah. I didn't get 2, unfortunately. That's okay.
Still pretty badass, though.
Yeah, 6 successes is fucking baller.
You will zone out as you are wont to do when you activate this ability, and you kind of have this moment of communion with your target's soul. And as you touch Nathaniel's, the first thing that hits you is this burning hatred for all things vampiric. And you were immediately swept up in the smell of cinders and smoke. And you find yourself holding this flaming brand as you're putting it to another vampire, slowly turning parts of their limbs to ash and eating further and further towards their torso. Screams are in the air, but they're muffled, like he had somehow either put a gag in their mouth or had clamped their mouth shut as this is happening. The environment's not very visible when you sink into this sensation. It seems very, very dark, and the air feels very, very damp, and like a musty smell is in the air. And then you snap back too.
Well, I don't know anything about that, so I'll be walking back to our car.
We follow him.
Yeah, you guys get to the car. You'll see Nathaniel walk down the street. He'll turn the corner, the next block. You hear a faint sound of him whistling as he's walking.
The doors are locked, right?
Yeah. We'll talk in a minute. I'll put it into drive, and we'll start heading towards Sierras. Once we're driving for a couple of minutes, and we're like on Lakeshore Drive, in the din of the traffic and shit, I'll be like, so that guy's interesting. He has a burning hatred for all things vampire, and I got a faint glimpse of him torturing some other vampire that I had not seen before. Someplace dark, damp, smelled kind of almost a musty scent on top of the flaying, burning skin of the vampire he was torturing.
Okay.
So he's not a good guy.
Great.
No, he's following whispers. So
There's that.
just out of curiosity, because I'm a little concerned I may have metagamed, is Nathaniel Bordroff a name that we're familiar with in the city?
Yeah, you would have heard it around.
Okay. I assumed, but then I was like, wait a minute. This is Ray's game, not mine.
No, yeah, he's been around. He doesn't seem to, that from words that's out there, he has a rough relationship with Khalid, the Primogen of his clan. But you also know that he was seen around with Mercy Valdez, who I believe is a caitiff. Who I
Is that
believe
the same caitiff that died at the dance? Oh no. Oh, good times.
you mean the one that that Preston let get killed? Yeah.
Yeah. That one.
No. I didn't do that. That wasn't my
She
fault.
was holding her own for, about 2 or 3 rounds.
It wasn't me.
Was it you? Okay. Well,
I was afraid. I'm not gonna lie. I was afraid to sense his sin. But I was like, I do it to everybody else who seems like potentially problematic that we need something over.
Well,
And I
Bordroff
was
is
like, oh god.
Bordroff is very fire and brimstone. Like, unless he wants something, in my opinion, from somebody. So that's why he's a little like, oh, hi. Your territory? Of course. Not gonna do anything. But he'll knife you in the dark for damn sure.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Anyways, on the Sierras.
okay. So here's a quick question. Yeah, let's just go to Sierra's and breakfast afterwards.
Yeah, I'm getting a little hungry.
Sounds good. I could eat.
All right. So you guys make your way towards the Diamond Yama Hotel. You pulling into the usual place when you go and visit Sierra?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So you pull into the parking garage, go to the second level. You can see that her private elevator's there, but there is actually a woman in a black suit standing right next to it. She looks like she's got an earpiece in. She's standing very calmly, but very confidently. She's got her hands clasped in front of her, like at her waistline. Caucasian woman, black hair, pulled back into a very professional-looking ponytail.
Okay.
Can I take the lead on this one?
Oh,
Absolutely.
by all means.
Okay. So follow my lead. We'll just walk up like we belong there.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll just walk up like we belong there.
Right. You guys strolling up, like, hey, blah, 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 bullshit a little bit as you're moving your way towards her.
Like,
Like,
girl tonight, she's fine.
you guys get within about 5 or 6 feet of the elevator, and this woman raises a hand. Can I help you, gentlemen?
Oh, yeah, we're just going upstairs to see a friend of ours.
Miss Van Buress is not seeing anybody this evening.
Oh, that must be who we're going to see. We're not on last name basis, if you get my meaning. I'll kind of give her like a little creepy wink.
She'll just raise a brow.
She's probably going to want to see us.
I've got on pretty good authority, but she doesn't want to see anybody.
Okay. Could you do me a favor? Could you tell her that her very good friends Lamont and Preston are here, and we have some pretty important information for her that she's probably going to want to get firsthand?
Can the 3 of you do me a favor and step back about 10 feet?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Problem.
And you'll see her pull a radio from inside her suit jacket. You'll hear her mutter, yeah, we got 3 individuals down here. Yeah. Preston and Lamont say they want to have information for the host. Okay. All right. Thank you. She'll raise a hand and gesture you towards.
Okay. Well, I'll saunter up.
Walk back over.
All right, gentlemen, you've been granted audience for 20 minutes. After that, you are to leave post haste. If you do not, we will expel you from the premises.
Hey, no problem.
Good.
We're not here to mess anything up. In fact, we're trying to do the opposite.
She'll walk over to the keypad. You see it's been replaced. There's a new one now.
Yeah, because I broke the old one.
She just swipes the card. Here, click, and the elevator opens. And after a couple seconds, if you hear it ding as it hits the floor, she'll gesture at the inside of the elevator. Feel free, gentlemen.
I'll get in.
Right.
Yeah.
Three of you step in. The doors close, and you go up through the shaft as the woman stays down below. She continues to man her spot.
To fight the Justicar. No, I'm kidding. Sorry.
The Justicar.
To die to the Justicar.
No. Tally's upstairs. You guys are bursting on a private conversation. I don't know what's going to happen, but you know
we don't know anything.
So,
Right.
So you guys are in the elevator. Again, it's that smooth metal interior. It's like a mirror-like quality. It takes maybe a minute before the doors ding open and you feel the other kind of settle in. Like you get that little soft bounce as it reaches the top floor. You guys step out into the hallway. You can see there are now two gentlemen in suits. One is to your left and the one is to the right in the far way. So there's a little hallway that runs between, like, to divide the room from the elevator room is. They're on both ends by both doors. You can hear the slight sounds of a piano being played from that main room where you guys had your talk with Sierra last time. And as you guys step out of the elevator, both gentlemen look at you. The one closest to you, the one on the left-hand side as you're walking out of the elevator, she kind of raises a brow. I thought you'd all be bigger. She's waiting.
I don't really respond to it either. I'll just go to wherever he kind of like directed.
He just kind of gestures in through the same entrance you guys have walked in a couple times now when you come to this place. Mm-hmm. And you walk into the main area where you can see the piano on the far side by the floor-to-ceiling windows. You got that sunken living room. And then you can see the area where she was pinned onto the wall. The nails have been put back into the wall where her arms were up. Like they've been put right back up. And when you walk in, you see Sierra. She's wearing like this black veil and like a very plain black dress, very unlike her. Usually she's wearing a very nice evening gown, but this is like a larger, like very simple, fabric, nothing too extravagant. And she's just playing the piano.
I guess we'll probably just wait until she says something or does something, I guess.
You guys will wait for maybe 2 or 3 minutes. She'll finish the song. It seems like she just started by the time you guys got out. Once the last note kind of dies in the air, you hear the scraping of the bench across the tile as she kind of pushes it back and gets up. She starts walking towards you. You can see underneath this thin veil she's wearing, you can still see the scars on her face from when she got burned from Sun and his Molotov cocktail. She doesn't seem to be in pain when she's moving like she was before when you guys dropped her off here. She seems a lot more comfortable, but she still is kind of hiding that disfigurement for the moment as it heals. She'll walk towards you and kind of gesture towards the couch in that sunken area. She'll descend down and take a seat across the other side of a coffee table from the couch.
I'll go over and sit down.
Yeah, I'll pull out a notepad and my number 2 pencil, and I'll grab Preston real quick and I'll write down the address of the place where we know that we dropped off her chilled and etc.
Right, the one where you guys had the meeting with Walden.
Yeah, and I'll hand it to Preston.
I'll take it.
I'll be basically acting in deference to them again, as I do when we're around anybody who's part of the city, really.
Once you guys have all been seated in and you guys pass the address over to Preston, she leans forward a little bit, her elbows on her knees, hands together. So what can I do for the three of you?
Well, first of all, it's good to see you. I'm happy to see that you are getting around well. I had hoped I wouldn't have to just kind of show up. I tried to call, so I'm sorry that we showed up, but I hope you know that we wouldn't have done that if it wasn't extremely important.
I'm not having any direct contact right now with anybody in this city. Mitchell, and she'll just kind of gesture towards the gentleman that you guys just spoke with, handles my phone calls currently. I'm getting additional security, obviously, after what had happened.
Understandable. So I'll get right to it then, since we've been limited on time. I'm not we're not at liberty to disclose how, but we have some information that will be very pertinent to you in regards to those responsible for the incident that took place here. I will hand her the piece of paper that Lamont gave me.
She'll take it in her hands, look at it. What's this?
We think, we're pretty sure those are the folks responsible, or that's where they're located.
This is where the pack is staying.
We believe.
One of the places, anyways.
Okay. And out of curiosity, why give this to me? And with all the respect, Preston, we've had a good working relationship, but with what has occurred in the last just 2 nights, I have to be a little more cautious in this city than I thought I was going to have to be. So I don't mean to look a gift horse in the mouth, but I need to look this gift horse in the mouth. Why are you giving this to me?
I completely understand your apprehension. Number one, for that very reason, because I'm doing everything I can to have as goodwill with as in many places I possibly can. And I thought we did have a good working relationship going on. I want to see that grow and continue. I want us to continue working together. Number two, I walked in here the other night and I saw what I saw, and it made me sick, physically sick. And I can't get the image out of my head. And I don't like that I had to see that. And it made me angry. So if there's anything that I can do to help right that wrong, I mean, nobody deserves to have that. Nobody deserves that. I don't care.
You see her lean back in her chair.
I'm going to try to really lay on the manipulation here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to kind of like mutter, like, it's a little bit more than that. Maybe we know some folks we don't want to let others know we know, because we've kind of been at the forefront of a couple of things, and we don't really want to expose ourselves either. So certainly there is an altruistic aspect of this. None of us, the three of us, are in any way pleased with what we saw here or what we saw at that restaurant, but also, like, we don't want to reveal our hand. So if this information is information you have, it's probably less likely to cause speculation about where you got it.
Well, I see your point. I won't argue that that's a good thing to keep under wraps. But I also know that I had to speak for the rest of that evening with Damien and that fucked up Malkavian about who they were, how they knew me, which is pretty much obvious. They're Sabbat. I was Sabbat. We went through the whole thing for about 12 rounds, to be completely honest. Now I can take this extra information to them and say it's coming from me, but they're going to ask me immediately, how did you get this? Why didn't you have it before? That type of thing. And while I can play the whole, well, I reached out to contacts that I thought might have a sympathetic ear, that I could probably, pump from information and got this, that's going to probably fall a little hollow. So I'm going to have to call on some favors that I've gained since I've been here. More importantly, favors since I've been given acceptance by your prince. Our prince. It's weird. I'll see to it because I don't want them getting away either. But Damien and I are on speaking terms right now. I nearly threw him through the window. So the beast sometimes when it gets loose gets a little angry.
Yeah, he can be a little trying.
But I'll hand it off through somebody. The information will get to him. I just can't do it personally. I'll make sure he knows it comes from me, but I'm not going to do it personally.
Yeah, Lamont will just like shrug, like, honestly, we just kind of felt like it was a little too big for us. And as a gesture of goodwill, because, but anyways, I don't.
And what do you want from me in return?
I'll give the deer in the headlights look, like it. Like, I'm so stupid it hadn't even occurred to me.
Right, it hadn't occurred to us to ask for something.
I'm just a neonate Toreador. I don't know. What do I want in return?
Yeah. You know what? I trust you not to forget it.
Lamont
Okay.
will affect aside. I mean, this is the Camarilla, so it's if you scratch my back, I scratch yours. If the time comes and we need something and you can help us out, I wouldn't go so far as to like use the B word, but
Right. I'll definitely keep it in mind. We can definitely be sure of that.
And also, when you're feeling up for it, take your time and everything. I'd like for us to get together on a little bit better of a circumstance, something a little bit more social. So when you're up for it, if you're interested,
Yeah, I need a couple days.
totally understandable.
sense.
We felt bad enough just showing up here, but we felt this was pretty big and pretty important.
No, I appreciate and understand why you would want to definitely bring this over, and I'll see it gets handled this evening. But yeah, as far as going out, I'm going to be here for probably the rest of the week, just to finish healing up.
I'll grab Preston and I'll like kind of like grab you by the arm and kind of like pull you in, like we need to do a little huddle. Should I tell her the other stuff that we found out, like how many?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you care, but like the information that we got was there's like one guy who's kind of like monstrous and he like takes people's flesh and does all kinds of weird stuff with it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got like 3 people, I think, like 2 women that look exactly the same. They're like twins, like so them. And then there's another one that was spotted there that's like a bit more aggressive. She's kind of like, it was described, well, I guess like a bit more bestial. And at least 2 more, but I don't have descriptions of them.
Yeah, there's a pack of 4 people, minus his Schlachta. So I'm familiar with that pack. Malenkov ran with them for a small bit, doing various Malenkov things, and I've had to deal with them in the past.
Question.
Yes.
What the hell is Schlachta?
You don't need to know. You don't want to know.
I was just being courteous.
I didn't want to look stupid. I didn't want to,
I don't have a problem looking stupid, so I asked. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
They only gave us like 20 minutes, so do you guys think we should?
Yeah, we should probably bounce.
Yeah, we got about 5 minutes, which gives us time to get downstairs.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of the area.
I don't want to piss off the security guards.
Yeah.
Well, they're very good at what they do. Prince Jackson was good in his suggestions, is all I can say.
Well, you enjoy the rest of your evening. If there's anything else you need from us, you know how to get a hold of us and me. And
Yeah. I will get this information to the sheriff.
Have a good night.
Yep, you too. And she'll stand up and just walk back towards the piano.
Once she stands, I will stand
Yep.
and then head towards the door.
Start making our way out.
You guys walk out. The guard will give you a nod as you go towards the elevator.
Give him a nod back.
You call it. It dings right away. You guys head on down. As you guys step in the elevator and it starts to descend, you start hearing the piano start being played again. You guys hit the ground level, in the parking garage. Walk out and you'll see the guard is still there. She looks back at you as the doors open, gives you a nod. Have a good night, gentlemen.
You as well.
You too.
We'll get in the vehicle.
You guys
I'll just be like, where to next, gentlemen? I know we said we were going for breakfast, but what do we got next for?
Yeah, that's a good question.
All right, so that wraps up this particular episode. The Nest has had an interesting encounter with a couple of, important characters within the city of Chicago, Nathaniel Bordroff and then Sierra again. Now, after that meeting with Sierra, they've kind of dropped the dime to the sheriff about the Sabbat in the city to seed some of that chaos they were talking about a while back. Let's see where that all takes them. See everybody next episode.